Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi himself had spelt out his vision for Make in India. And as part of that, he was very keen, it is one of his passionate projects, that he wanted to encourage the private sector in India to step into the field of defense manufacture, to have tie-ups with, original equipment manufacturers in various countries of the world to get the best and the latest, technology, and to to create an ecosystem to sustain the manufacture of cutting edge technology, weapons and equipment in India. Why is India 70 years after independence still the biggest importer of weapon systems in the world? It is a disgrace. But there are very clear signs of a new dawn because of the government's concerted effort to get the private sector to come into the field. One is deeply, deeply enthused to see the response of our private sector. We have the Managing Director, Mr. Neeraj Gupta, with us, who have started the manufacture of these helmets and of body armor and a whole lot of protection assets to our helicopters, to our ships, to our vehicles, etc. And they have done wonders by making breakthroughs in the export market. Not only are they selling to the Indian Armed Forces, the Indian Police, the CRPF, to the Army, to the Navy, to the Air Force, they are selling their stuff in the face of stiff competition to countries like the Philippines, countries like France, countries like Germany, countries like Egypt. This is remarkable. This is a remarkable success story, and in the days to come, we hope there will be many more. I would therefore like to have a round of interaction with the Managing Director of this very dynamic young Indian company, which we hope will soon become a role model for others to execute breakthrough. There are so many of them doing such wonderful work, and this is something that every Indian would like to see happening, our private sector getting involved. So let me, without much ado, get on to interactive session with Mr. Neeraj Gupta. So Neeraj, it is a privilege to come around and see the MKU in action, and we are so glad that in the face of stiff competition, an Indian company is exporting bulletproof jackets to European nations, to foreign countries. So what, according to you, are the main strengths of the MKU brand?
So first of all, our slogan is "Slaving Lies, Earning Smiles." We really take pride and we feel pleasure and honored that these soldiers who are really taking care of us, who are at the forefront giving us freedom, we are able to equip them with the latest equipment that we are producing. Technology is the driving force. Then commitment to quality is the second thing that we really focus upon. These are the two main drivers that is putting MKU in the forefront of the technology, world-class products, and being exported to so many countries in the world, including India, where we have been able to, fortunate enough to get an order for 158,000 helmets for Indian Army.
Excellent. Now that we were getting into the quantities, what are your output capacities for helmets and BPJs?
Sir, helmet we can produce 200,000 helmets a year, 150,000 body armors a year. This is what the capacities that we have as of now. If required, we can always scale up the capacities as well.
What are the main products for the Indian Armed Forces and paramilitary that you can offer?
Whatever we are manufacturing is already in service to Indian Army and Indian paramilitary forces. Right now we are producing body armor, helmets, night vision goggles, now venturing also into thermal images, platform protection. When I say platform protection, I mean platform for vehicles, helicopters, ships, boats and frigates.
I was particularly impressed by this platform for the protection of helicopters, because when we see the number of helicopters that are getting shot at in especially the Chhattisgarh region, the Bastar region, I think that would be a great lifesaver, and kudos to you for coming up with that this thing. The question that would generally be asked of you is, have your products been proven under fire? What has been the feedback?
Sir, there has been an incident in Gaya district. There was an attack on CRPF soldiers, and I'm proud to say that the soldiers were wearing MKU body armor. They were saved in spite of the attack from various lethal bullets, and once they were saved, they will really be able to how should I express, they were able to catch those Maoists and were able to fulfill their operation very successfully. This is one incident, I would say. And we got also a kind of appreciation letter from the commandant of CRPF in that region. Another incident, Spanish army troops that were there in Iraq, they were using body armor plates from MKU during the height of the Iraq war. On the helicopter armoring, Mexican police, federal police, they were using our armor plates on their helicopters, Mi-17. The helicopter had fire on the belly, about like 15 shots. None of the shots were able to penetrate into the helicopter.
That's really encouraging to hear, and I'm so happy that it is the European countries, it is Mexico, it is Egypt, countries like that, the French, the Germans who are buying your products. And you know, for an Indian, it's a matter of great pride. So just tell us about the scale of the MKU operations overseas. Which products of yours have found acceptability abroad?
Apart from India, we have operations, full-scale operations in Germany. This is a company, again 30 years old company, but we acquired that in 2008. And the platform armoring capability came through the acquisition of this company. German Army, German Bundeswehr, TKMS for frigates, they are our regular customers. But then, as I mentioned, Spanish Army, Ecuadorian Police, Federal Police of Mexico, Philippines Army, Japan, French Navy, Italian Army for helmets, they all have been our regular customers.
Excellent, excellent. That is an impressive list of your people, because you see, at the end of the day, we will get economies of scale only if we can export the products that we want to give to the Indian Armed Forces. Do you offer technologies and standards that your competitors in India cannot match or cannot offer?
Sir, with pride, I would say there are so many products that are patented by MKU in India, in Europe and in US. First to mention in that list is Quick Release Insta Vest. This is a special vest designed by MKU for special operations where at times a soldier has to quickly take off his body armor or other equipments for medical reasons or operational reasons, or if he has to dive into a water or he has to go into small area where he has to really move very fast. So this has been a very innovative product and has a good acceptability. A lot of European countries and US customers have shown interest in this technology. This is one that we have. Then another technology is what we call Mukut. This is a bolt-free helmet with reduced helmet trauma. This is a technology, this is very similar to what we are offering to Indian Army. Globally, you will see that a lot of companies in helmets are not talking about trauma, but a large back face deformation or a trauma, even if the bullet is stopped, can still hurt a soldier in such a way that it can be fatal as well. Bolt free, the uniqueness of this technology is that at times, even though the bullet is stopped, but if the bullet is hit on the bolt of a helmet, it can become like a secondary fragment. So these two technologies coupled with various other features for comfort is what we call Mukut, and again that is also getting a lot of interest. On the platform armoring side is something we called MOST, Modular Shoot Technique technology. This is a technology where we do not really touch the we do not touch the main body of the helicopter, does not require special airworthiness certification. And in this technology, you just use the payload capacity of the helicopter. Okay, so you can quickly install and take off. And the last but not the least, I would say, just to mention, is Generation 6 technology. This technology is 40% lighter, thinner than a standard armor technology. And this is what we have already supplied to Eastern Command under Special Armies Commander Fund. Army's Commander Fund, yeah.
Excellent. Because one was happy to hear that what you have been offering to our armed forces has been even higher than the specifications that they have put out, and that is cause for celebration that we are, moving ahead of the demand. Tell us, what can you offer to the Indian Air Force?
Body armor, for sure.
For their Garuds.
For their Garud,
protection of
right.
their
Airborne helmets, aviator night vision goggles, and platform protection for helicopters, as well as cable harness. Cable harness, this is a business that we do in joint venture with a German company, and we are already doing repairs of cable harness that goes into AN32, MI17 through their base workshops. So these are the offerings that we can do for Indian Air Force.
Excellent. And what about the Indian Navy?
Indian Navy. Again, flotation body armor. Indian Coast Guard is already using our flotation body armor, which after stringent trial they found it to be very useful for them. Helmets, night vision goggles, and up armoring of boats, ships and frigates. And I would like to mention here that almost like 50% of the boats that have been armored being used by Navy or Coast Guard have done by MKU. Even the Griffin hovercraft that is coming from UK for Indian Navy, the armor for that particular project has been supplied by MKU to Griffin, and it is coming back to India, to Indian Navy.
And some mine-protected vehicles which are being done by some of our companies, I understand, they also...
Exactly. So CRPF, they are buying certain mine-protected vehicles, and after a lot of trials and evaluation of different companies, they found our solution to be quite useful for them in terms of the blast protection that is required, and we are expecting some business in that sector as well.
Tell me, how and where do you get your testing and certification done, and do you encounter any problem areas in this field?
I would say that we have our own ballistic testing laboratory in Germany. So this is again something that we really enjoy of the acquisition that we did in 2008. But of late, I would say because of the proactive and the business-friendly policies of the current Indian government, the DRDO labs and other labs are also able to test our samples on payment basis. So we use labs in India, we use our own lab in Germany, and we use international labs for the testing, evaluation and certification of our products.
Excellent. Because this is one of the areas that has been coming in for some amount of grouses and complaint that we have developed this product, but which firing ranges do we test it in, etc. Yeah. Will there be a positive impact on the strategic partners model of the business, the way that you are doing your business? Tell us something on the conceptual aspects of it as you were discussing.
First of all, I would say that I was honored, or I'm honored that I was also part of the 5 committees that were made by Ministry of Defence on the strategic partnership concept. And the 5 committees that were formed was one on the submarines, one on aircraft, one on the aircraft and armored fighting vehicles, and the 4th committee was on the ammunition, and I was the chairman of the ammunition committee. In fact, I would say again, a proactive business-friendly approach of the present government. The ammunition, although it does not form the part of the big strategic partnership concept, but I would call it as that it is already the process has already started, and I would call this as a mini strategic partnership. The ammunition RFIs were floated. Now the RFP is already running. Companies are supposed to submit their bids, and the qualified company will get a business for 10 years. So again, it's a very welcoming and very heartening from the industry side of view. Coming on the big strategic partnerships, yes, it will have multiple effects. First of all, it will bring the necessary technology into India, making India self-reliant. And I would say once that is starting, then there will be tier 1, tier 2 suppliers. They will get the benefit out of the strategic partnership concept. And I expect a lot of business will start to happen, and a lot of jobs will be created from the strategic partnership concept.
Excellent, because that is one of the areas that is becoming of very great concern. Generating jobs, generating employment for our youth bulge, which Nandan Nilekani says is going to be a great advantage. But if the jobs are not forthcoming in greater numbers, it could be source of great turbulence. Give us an idea of the problems you have faced in the tender processes of the armed forces and the police, so that a feedback can be given and the business climate improved.
I would say as such we do not really face problems, but the only major problem that we face is that the timelines, indefinite timelines in the finalization and conclusion of the contracts, which I would say is nothing new that I'm talking about. But I think as the DPP is evolving, I think the processes are also getting streamlined. And I would say again, thanks to the present government, that today we are enjoying that we have the contract for the helmets for supply to Indian Army.
Excellent. That is a laudable achievement. I think something that we can be proud of. What problems have you faced in interacting with the users of your products in the armed forces? Product improvement is something you can do only if you get a feedback from the user to whom you have given the particular technology.
I would say we are in the business of doing business with Indian defense and paramilitary forces for almost more than 25-30 years. We have seen a sea change in last 5 years. Before, the users, they were not willing or they were not welcoming suggestions from manufacturers. But I see that nowadays they go for RFI, they request for response and technical responses from various companies, and based on that they make QRs. So I think this dialogue between the industry and the end user is becoming more and more proactive, and it's becoming a two-way communication. Before, I would say it was just one-way communication. We were just given the specification and we were supposed to just meet the specification if you want to participate. Yes. So things are improving, I would say.
I'm glad to hear that again. It's a real shot to our morale. Tell me, what made you get into the business, into this business? From manufacturing locks, what has brought you into the field of defense?
Okay, it's a long journey. My father, he was supplying locks in a very small scale to Air Force, HAL and all these small bodies, but in a very small way. But then my elder brother, his name is Manoj, he is the chairman of the company. He decided to get into the composite business. And then later on he discovered that the helmet of Indian Army that time was known as helmet combat fiberglass. So that was a turning point of MKU and the foray or the entry into the defense business. And then after that we started manufacturing jungle boots, PT shoes and stuff like that. And during Kargil war, we supplied almost like 10,000 pairs of snow boots. And in that we got also kind of lot of appreciation from the army headquarters. And then the army headquarters, the officers from the army headquarters, they said that why you don't get into body armor and into composite helmets for ballistic protection.
That's right.
Right. So that was the idea that was given. And from the family, I was chosen, okay, you take the lead in that sector. And finally, we started manufacturing body armor in 2000. And I'm proud to say that the first order that we secured and fulfilled was in 2001, was for Delhi Police. Okay. And since then, I would say it's a history.
You haven't looked back.
Yes, and today MKU has a satisfied customer in 100 countries. 230 forces all around the world are using our products. And these are all our repeat customers as well.
This is so nice to hear, in fact, that, not just the Indian market, but, abroad, your products are being appreciated. You are winning contracts in competition with world-renowned companies. And it is one is glad to see that Indian companies have arrived. Tell us, how do you develop your new products? How is research and development process structured in this company?
I would say, first of all, there is always an emphasis because apart from India, we are focusing on international market. And as we all know that India or any country for their armed forces have a finite requirement. Government cannot take the responsibility of running the company. So at MKU, from the very beginning, we decided that we will go into exports if we want to keep pace with the technology, if we want to keep developing new technologies into the company and into the country. So export was a major area where we were focusing from the beginning. And there was always a natural pull in technology because we were participating in tenders in some of the Western European countries and US and from the African countries to Asian countries as well. And different countries have their different needs. And so there was always a natural pull in technology. And of course, now that phase is gone. And now our team of engineers, they keep on developing new things, which we keep on patenting as well. So I would say, as I mentioned in the beginning of the discussion, that technology is the biggest driver for the growth of MKU. So we will continue to do that. And similarly on the night vision, we are, as per my understanding, we are the only company in India that has their own designs and own IPs, and we are not dependent on any other JV partner for our night vision devices as well. And we will be exporting these as well to European countries, to Asian countries, and to all other parts of the world.
Excellent. You see, because one of the greatest weakness has been of Indian companies, the grouse against them have been that we've not been investing enough in R&D. So, as a concluding question, tell us, what are your unique products? What are your unique products and why do you call them or consider them unique?
As I mentioned, again, I would repeat the same thing. Quick release InstaVest. It's a very unique body armor which allows a wearer to take off a body armor in case of an emergency or a medical situation. Mukut helmet, again bolt free, reduced low trauma, which was one of the stringent requirements of the Indian Army. Gen 6 armor, which is 40% lighter, thinner and flexible as compared to the standard armor. Most for helicopter armoring, again, here we have patented attachment systems. So these are few things, as I mentioned. On the night vision, we have equipment that can withstand water column height of up to 20 meters. We have equipment of a battery life of 40 hours as compared to standard of 20 hours. So these are all the USPs of MKU products. And when we showcase them to various end users in India and all over the world, they really appreciate the quality and the technology of MKU. And I would like to also mention that MKU again is recognized by Government of India, by Ministry of Science and Technology as a recognized R&D house as well.
Neeraj, that is really encouraging to hear. On that very positive and optimistic note, may I congratulate you for the achievement so far, and we hope to see the MKU going places.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.